right from primary school, this girl never took anything less than, or I don't know how to put it, but third position was the only. In fact, if she even takes second, she's crying. And me, if I go and take like 20, like I'm very happy.
Hello, beautiful people. If you've never failed, someone has said that if you've never failed before, you haven't started. And that brings us to what we'll be discussing today. It's another beautiful episode, and with me, I have my beautiful colleague, handsome colleague, and a dear friend. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Nathaniel.
I'm Shaibu now, your judge again.
I'm Kali.
And I am Blessed Siberu. Today we're going to be talking about, I think for me it's a bit personal, because it's something I've experienced, and I am sure it's something all of us can relate with. The topic we're going to be discussing today is failure. Is it a stepping stone to success, or is it actually a step back? To start, I know that we've all failed. Let's no lie. In fact, even a baby who is just walking, at some point would have to stand up and fall, stand up and fall. So, Kali, what would you say? What's failure to you? If you had to define failure, what would you say failure is?
Okay, so I would like to start by saying the me 10 years ago would define failure very negatively, but currently I see, in fact, I don't really subscribe to the word failure. I subscribe more to the word failing forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Failing forward.
Yes.
Wow.
So because I realized that when you look at the people who have succeeded in life, when you look at them, many of them have had more episodes of failure than the success. Yes. So it seems to me like success is, okay, the foundation of every success is many, many, many failures.
So it's safe to say that failure is like a building block to success.
Exactly.
That you never really get to that point where, in fact, and I think I actually agree with someone who said that, show me somebody who has never failed before, and I'll show someone who has not even begun.
Yeah.
That it takes a lot of, and what failure, for me, I would define failure as just a successful learning curve of knowing, okay, learning a better way to do something,
Yeah.
or a way not to do something. Because at the end of the day, there is a lesson.
True.
Let's say, let me move to Naomi before.
Okay, me, for someone who have not really experienced life, I'm still very young, Let's look at everybody here. I think I'm like the youngest among everyone here. And I've not really experienced life, let me put it that way. And I would just want to say that for me, I will see failure as a stepping stone.
Okay.
Because if we are going to define failure as this kind, you have failed and you are there. If you have that mindset, each time you fail, you tend to remain there. Because you just feel like, that's ended now, Otilo, nothing is there again. But if you have this mindset that, okay, I have failed this once, right, it's a lesson for me in the future, what I should have done better and what I shouldn't do at all. That is how I see failure. Sorry. I would like to say that even despite the fact that I've not experienced life, like I just said, there are situations where I've failed. Are we going to talk about the academics? Okay, I have experience. They me from primary till I finished secondary school. I was a failure. My teacher said should be hearing me and they should say, yes, it's true. The only thing that made my teachers like me was the fact that I was a fine girl. That was why they liked me. Come to the academics, everybody hated me because I didn't know anything. That is the truth. It's because I've passed there. I've seen that it's a stepping stone. That is why I'm bold to talk about it right now. I'll talk about when I went to the university, I picked up. I graduated with 4.18 for somebody
Wow.
who was taking second to the last position, even in SS1,
That's
SS2.
a
You get
drastic
like
change.
so that is like failure at that time. That was failure. If I stayed there and I said, and there's this, I'm going to use mathematics as an example. That me, when I was in that secondary school, when we are in class, I will never carry math notes that I want to study, because I put it at the back of my mind that I will fail. No matter what, I'm going to fail this subject. So among my reading timetable, you can never see mathematics there. It's either you see Greek or you see economics, but you'll never find mathematics. But when I discovered that it's because I put my mind that I must fail this thing. When I got in the university, I had to do a lot of statistics. And then I picked up, and that was where I saw that it's not that I didn't know this thing. It's because I already settled with that failure. So I will see failure as a stepping stone. What now I have discovered, I shouldn't have left mathematics out of my study schedule. You get?
So it's safe to say, from what you've said, I think one thing that stood out for me is that failure sometimes can be a product of our mindsets.
Yes.
That there are people, before you even get into the program or whatever, you are already telling yourself, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to succeed at this thing. And then there's a way the universe hears, and whatever you say, there's that thing about the power of confession. You are already seeing yourself failing even before you even get on with the program. So yes, actually it's a thank you. That failure sometimes can be a product of our mindset. Mr. Nathaniel, what would you say? Failure? What's failure to you?
Okay, I would say failure. First of all, failure is real, and failure is a mindset. If you ask me personally what my definition of failure is not hitting a mark or not getting like an expected outcome. Then the mindset comes to play now. The mindset, okay, I failed, I didn't get the expected outcome. Am I just going to remain here? Am I going to give up? That is where your mindset comes in. Or okay, yes, I failed. I wanted to get maybe 1,000 subscribers. I was not able to get it. Am I going to apply another tactic to get the outcome, or am I just going to give up and say, okay, yes, it's a done deal, I'm going to hang the boot? So yes, I would say failure is real. However, it's a product. It's in your mind. It's in your mind. It's something that you can walk your way around. You understand? There's one thing like my dad always says, there's no one way to the market.
True.
That means in the grand scheme of things, success doesn't have just one route. If I want to become successful, that means I had to be a soldier. No, somebody can be a doctor and be successful. Somebody can also be a doctor and be a failure in it. You understand? So I personally feel that failure is real, is in the mind. However, it's not hitting the mark or not getting like an expected
So
outcome.
it's safe to say sometimes that when it comes to failure, right, it's not the what actually matters is not that you failed, but what you did when you didn't
Yes.
achieve the result. Because there are times people, we can easily give up on things. There are people that gives up at the slightest look of discomfort or slightest appearance of obstacle. You just hands up and just give up, like this thing is not possible, and you just leave it, and then you stay there. And I think in a way it's unconsciously now breeds people who complain and always see the impossible side of things. It is not possible, because maybe multiple times that they'd had to try something and they didn't achieve the expected result. Their mindset or how they react to it was that it is not possible, and then they just stay there. So subsequently that now becomes a thing. And how for me failure can become a stepping stone is that yes, I tried this, I failed at it, I pick myself up, I dust myself and think of a better way to do it next time, and then keep at it on and on and on. In a way, you're also training yourself to see the possibility in things. That today this thing can come up. I try road A,
Didn't
follow.
work.
Oh yeah, now let's go back. Try road B. And for me, I will always use children as example. When you see a child who is just learning to crawl, as someone who had been I've had to be with children for very long period, I've seen them you see a child who is just learning to crawl, learning to walk rather, and he's crawling and he's just stands up and just stagger before you know he falls down.
Stand up
A
again.
child will not still remain. The child will still stand up again. Next time, you not seen a child that will hold on to you
Yeah.
because he's trying to walk and then he keeps taking that step. He will fall, he will still rise and try it again. The next time there is something up what seemingly supposed to be an obstacle, the child can hold on to that thing and begin to even walk with it as support until the child is able to develop strength in their legs, and then they begin to walk. From walking they begin to run. But when you see a child, how will just imagine having that child who is just starting to learn to walk because he stood up the first time and then he failed or he fell, just remain there, and then the next time that fear of trying again or don't want to, you will never really walk. So for me, failure actually is supposed to be a failure will be a stepping stone if you choose to make failure a stepping stone. But failure in itself can actually be a setback that you will just leave it, and then next time you don't want to even try. Some people get to the point of losing the zeal or even motivation to try anything again. So I think it depends on the person. So I would also even want to ask Naomi, you said you are just starting. Me, I don't believe in you. You are just starting.
I'm just starting life now. Look at me.
Even in our today's world, a 15-year-old.
Yeah,
they are
starting is
saying
relative. It's relative for many people. So
Actually,
as long as she's a graduate, a working class, she's not just starting like I'm sure you have experienced things. But also, can you think of a circumstance or a situation where you used school, right? When you were in school, you failed at certain subjects and all of that. What was the pivotal point for you going to university? How did you move from being one of the students that
The
was
dummy,
coming
right? The dummy. You have to say it the way it is. The dummy.
you cannot be a dummy for you to graduate with 4 points. That's no dummy. So how did you navigate?
Okay. For personally, I think the company you keep matters also in on your way to success. You can't keep anyhow people.
Sure.
Although I'm not happy with the friend, but I'm very happy for the impact in my life. We did the same primary. We couldn't do the same secondary because I went to a boarding school. Then we found ourselves in the same department and the same school. And the thing is, she's a very bright student. When I mean bright, right from primary school, this girl never took anything less than, or I don't know how to put it, but third position was the only. In fact, if she even takes second, she's crying. And me, if I go and take like 20, like I'm very happy.
Sorry, just to
at least you're not the last.
you know close door.
yeah.
Like I'm very happy because see me that I'm taking 38 and I took 20, I'll be very happy. There was a time I took 17. Everybody in my area knew that I didn't take 20 something.
Oh, God.
Like I was so happy. Like that was how bad it was. When I got to SS1 too, my older brother was so ashamed of himself because he was the one that came to the school to collect the result. And then I took 40 out of 41.
Wow.
So to tell you how bad it was, but one thing is the company you keep matters. The girl was my friend, she more like a family member. Then from there, very bright student. When we came to school, any small thing, if this girl should just carry book and read in 1 second, she understands what is there. But for me, I didn't discover myself early. I think that was where the problem was. Because me, I would just follow them and read the 1 second. I don't know it, but I'll leave it because they are not reading it, so I'll not read. But when I discovered that, knowing my strength, I discovered that if I don't read it till like 3 times, I might not know it. I had to sit down. When this girl is operating phone, I'm reading my book. I literally had to build my life around school. That's why if you ask me, what did you go to Makurdi to do? I'll tell you it was school. I did not understand their language. I didn't know anywhere because I just wanted to make my parents proud. I didn't want that Naomi of primary and
I'm
secondary.
sure you did make them proud.
So when the whole thing in 100 level first semester, I wrote 3.54. That was second class upper, right?
Yeah.
This girl wrote 4.4 something. I was very happy sincerely, and then I wanted to, even if I'm not going to reach where she was, I wanted to at least meet her because this was the person people knew me with. So imagine your friend is like this, then you are like this. It's not good. So I had to advise myself, and then I picked up. Then in my 300 level, first semester 400 level, results came out. A result is 5.0 over 5.0. When I checked my results, I saw 5.0 and I was not surprised. I cleared the whole thing A. I was not surprised because I knew I worked for it. I've failed before. I knew how failure reduced my self-esteem. It reduced my confidence. I couldn't talk among my mates. Because before you know, some sort of children, I be like, come on, you where they take class. You where they take class, that kind of thing. We're easy to laugh, but deep down it was getting to me. So I had to readjust to my company. I had to readjust, discover myself. Yes, I had to discover myself. People's IQ are not the same. I discovered that this girl had a very high one. It's not that mine was low, but I was not using my brain well. They say there's nobody who is not brilliant because you are not using it. Because after then I discovered that I wasn't using what. So why am I writing 5.0 and then I was writing 40 out of 41? What is the difference? It's because I've discovered that okay, this is how I should do things. I failed before, and then when I came here, I discovered that no, I shouldn't sit here because I have failed before.
So just to summarize, like there is a place for
discovery and company.
Company, yes.
Yes.
Like
People you keep around.
Scripture would say that bad company corrupt
good
good
manners.
manners. And then there's that general, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. So that there's actual need. Sometimes is I don't know. If you want to be a wise man, you should find yourself in the company of wise men. Like sometimes you
A friend to the wise is wise.
Yes.
But sometimes that is not true.
Yes, practically it's not always obtainable.
But I think what it's saying is just sort of buttress the point you're making, that by the reason of association, right? You have that opportunity to pick up. It's only unless maybe your own, let's just give up on it, that you can be with certain kind of people every now and then and you're not picking anything. And there's that power of your subconsciousness rather. Sometimes you tend to pick some things subconsciously, which has happened to me. They used to say equipment.
Now you now call it
equipment. Because I was with somebody who kept saying like that, and in the midst of just being and gisting, it was the day I came to the office and I was saying equipment. So I realized. So really, that's the power of subconsciousness, and then the power of association. That in trying to achieve something, the people you surround yourself with is really key. And I would also want to ask, right, in our today's world where everything is seemingly fast-paced, everybody wants to attain a certain level of success or look in a certain way. Like, I don't know, what is success in that sense? Everybody wants to look successful. Maybe you have a car, you have a house. That is some of the things we define success with right now. What would you say, Kali?
Okay, so I love your question. Success, when I was speaking, I said successful people. Success is different things to different people, and success is actually tied to your purpose and your destiny. So a success for Cristiano Ronaldo is not what is success for me. So it would be unwise of me to look at him and now measure myself and judge myself as an unsuccessful person. So you would I think the journey to success begins at discovery of who you are. What have you been called to? What are the things that God has embedded in you for your generation, for your life? And so that understanding and that knowledge, it kills off this, desire to go with the trend of the world. So because you mentioned we are in a fast-paced world, everybody just wants to sharp. So but when you know where you are going to, you do not smear your own path with other people's opinions, with the successes of other people. It kills envy, it kills jealousy, it keeps you right on track. So you don't veer off because you know where you are going to. So first you have to discover where am I going to, and then secondly, I think also relating to what she said, you will find people who are on the same course with you, trajectory. So that if I'm called to be a speaker, of course I have to surround myself, even if I don't get the opportunity to do it physically. I have the privilege of social media. There are other speakers there. I
Yeah,
can
you can
consume
learn.
their materials, you know, get familiar with these things. I can't go and be consuming what the DJ is doing. So that's I believe that is what success is. So success is measured based on your destiny and your calling.
So there's no
Yes,
one way to
true.
success or one way to define. You can say success is subjective,
It's
right?
subjective.
Depending
Yeah.
on what you say. Natalia, have you failed before?
Yes, I have. I have failed woefully.
Hey.
I have. But okay, let me give this as an example. Where I was working before, not before here, but at some point in my life where I was working, I how I even got that job in the first place was like a miracle to me. So I put myself under undue pressure to be able to meet up to a certain level. And unconscious to me, I had already gotten to that level. However, I won't call it like a personal issue, but I had an issue with somebody within that firm. And lo and behold, one day I just came to the office and they handed me a letter and I saw termination of contract. I had, at first, I was devastated. Trust me, I thought my whole world had ended because, you know, when you talk to people, if I ask you, blessing, and there's somewhere you would love to work, you understand? For me, that was the place I wanted to be there. So it felt like a dream come true when I got into that place. But then I, it took a colleague of mine to say, "Are you sure this is a failure?" Because I was
You felt
feeling
you
like, you
failed.
understand, I felt like I had made the worst mistake. I had gone off track, you understand. But she called me and she said I should look at it from, you know, another perspective. So it's safe to say in the topic of failure or success, there's a place for critical thinking, stepping back and analyzing everything that had happened in no, let me not say in layman's term. If you look at it on surface level, you would say, this person has failed because, like my boss will always say, he dropped the ball or something. But you understand. But I had to go back, critically look at it, and no, I did not fail. If I looked at my journey coming to that place, I had achieved a lot. You understand? I had from here I had gotten to like here. It was just that issue, you understand, that I had with that person that caused that thing. So like I said, you need that, even if it's 1 hour, 1 week, a day, to really step back and say, okay, you know what? I wanted to make so and so and so. This was my target, and I fell short of that target. Did I really fail? You understand? Did I really fail? And then that small time that you use to analyze everything is where you actually get the epiphany of, okay, how can I go about this thing again? What did I do that I should have done differently?
Differently.
You understand? What did I not do? What mistakes did I make? So yes, we have failed. I just don't want to go into details of, you understand. I have failed, but I would say from that experience of failure, it built my self-confidence, number one. It gave me a different perspective of what life is like on a broad level. You understand? So yeah.
I think for me, failure in a way has taught me to judge myself, just somehow in line with what Kali said, that failure for me, I judge myself based on myself,
Yeah.
not the external person. And this is something I learned from my dad. You know how still the same primary school or secondary school, that after exams they'll give you your school your report card and you take home. Most people will just look at the position. You took first, you took second, you took third, and all of that, and then they would clap for you. Oh, you succeed, you passed, and all. For me, I've always been on the top student in my class.
They're the
But
bright
I
ones.
remember there was a time I took second and I was crying before I left school. Not because I was expecting to take first, but because this is how my dad would always check our report card. He has this folder for all of us at home. So let's say it's a second term result you came out with. You will take your first term result
You
and look
compare.
at your
Average.
mathematics. What was your score in
Mm,
mathematics?
mm.
Look at what was your score in mathematics this year. And that's how he does for every subject. Then he looks at your that cumulative, not the grade now. I think is it cumulative point or so they call it. That's what he looks at. That he can see that, oh, your performance in mathematics this term, you dropped. So it is actually possible that that term the time I took second,
Yeah.
I think the previous term or so, was it third or fourth that I took? And my daddy was happy with my performance of the previous term. So a lot of people see me cry, didn't understand what it was. So for me, it was not just the appearance of success, it's the actual thing that there is that progress. I made
Substance.
progress. There was substance. Because that's how he's going to look. You can take, so I had learned that from my dad. That it's not, what's important is even when it seemingly look like it's a failure, what matters is that I look at it, did I learn something? Is there, even if it's just a glimpse of improvement in anything, for me that is success. That yes, I may not have achieved the result I wanted to at that point, but when I weigh it critically as to how I was before that experience, there is a difference. And we know every human, we are the sum total of our experiences, good or bad. Everything is what sums up to who we are. So for me, that whole experience, failure really in itself is not a setback. It only becomes a setback when you allow it and you don't know how to move past that stage. Because for sometimes it is real, really, that you can experience certain things and you just don't know how to move on. I don't know if that is
It's real.
something happened and you don't know how to, and you just, all you know is just to remain there. And for me, that is where the power of association, like Naomi has said, really comes. Because there are times in my life that I didn't know. I will not go fully, but for almost 2 months, I was hiding in my father's house. I didn't know where to go.
Shame,
I-
you agbada.
And every day, my mom and my dad will see me like, this girl, what are you doing with your life? And I don't have any answer. I was jobless. Let me not.
I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
It is important for people. Yes, there's a place for encouragement, but people need to we need to tell ourselves the truth. You understand? When you fail, accept that you fail.
Yeah.
There are some people that they just keep doing the same thing the same way, back to back, back to back. They keep failing. They don't even learn any lessons from it. It's because they don't even realize that they are failing at this thing. So I think another thing is for a person to know that, okay, you know what, this thing, sometimes, you know, it might not be your thing. That's the truth. Some people might be doing, like he said, your purpose, it might not be your calling in this life. I was trying to write a book. I wrote nonsense. You understand? You write another one.
So
again.
you're a failed
You
writer.
understand? So sometimes you need to know that the lesson you need to learn from there is this thing is
It's not for you.
And you've do you know at the
You've
end of the day, that's
succeeded.
success.
Yes.
You've succeeded in
Yeah, I
identifying
know.
that you are not.
I love what you said, because sometimes failure is just an indication that you need to change course.
Yes.
So imagine if you didn't fail at writing, you would have just been hitting on a very high
very
note.
particular about the whole writing.
Yes, you know, they say speed in the wrong direction is not an advantage.
Actually, very true.
So actually, failure can be a fuel to success. Actually, it is
It
even
is
a fuel.
yeah.
Depends on how you see it and how you use it.
Yeah, very true. I think really that this has summarized all this conversation, that failure is a fuel to success.
Sure.
And what matters is what you do when you fail. Are you going to fail? Definitely you will fail. As long as you are human and you're on earth, and you would have to do things, unless you just want to sleep and wake up and stay in your house.
And then you'll be hungry.
And that's failing already to feed yourself. So we will definitely fail at some point in life. What matters is what you do when you fail. Are you going to see it as a time to take a step back and learn? Really, we can end this on this note that failure is real. You will feel the pain of not achieving the result. But what we encourage is that you don't stay there. You don't remain there. You pick yourself, dust yourself, and move on. Because at the end of the day, as long as there is life, there is hope. And tomorrow is another day to try again. Thank you. I am Blessing Siberian. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.